feel like a lot of people are struggling in their personal life, and then it's showing up in the collective of letting go of what they still are gripping to as safety, as security, as something that they understand and know, and put so much value on being loyal to that, that they're questioning where their loyalty is right now to themselves for the change that they're trying to accomplish. And it's been, at least for my clients, I've noticed that thread, and then meditating on that for the collective, is questioning how you really break something completely apart and rebuild without holding on to anything that feels safe to you anymore. And that is a really hard thing for people to do. It's hard for me to do. It's hard for my clients to do. And there's a struggle. It's been repetitive in the last couple months with the people I've been seeing individually. They just keep saying how uncomfortable they are. They're just really uncomfortable. And I keep repeating that statement that change is uncomfortable. You know, we don't want it to be comfortable. If it's comfortable, then you're not changing. Then it's not changing. And then collectively, the whole thing isn't shifting. But I do think there is a strange perspective filter that's a little bit rose-colored right now of people thinking that they know more than they do. And I just don't think that's true.
Yeah. Or that one outcome or another is going to serve them and be safer.
Mm-hmm.
Some ways, all is changing right now, regardless of whatever the outcome is. And so what I hear you say is get right with yourself. Get loyal with yourself.
Get right with
get whole with
where
yourself.
your loyalty is lying for. This is the part where that gets confusing, I think. Not the loyalty to something that you've been used to that feels good right now. The loyalty is in where do you want to go, which is a very different thing, because when we ask that question of ourselves, if we are loyal to this and committed to the change we want to make or where we want to be in the future, that usually goes against what we're comfortable with doing right now.
To me, it's having faith.
I just think the people that are really willing to jump into the unknown right now have so much more, not just optimistic, positive energy, but will regret later if they don't do that now. They aren't willing to let go now. Because remember, I think I said in the reading that we did towards the end of the year, the first time, and then it repeated a little bit the second time, but I remember it being slightly different.
It was slightly different.
The conversation was different.
It was.
The theme was, generally speaking, by the end of the year, you are not going to feel like you're in the right place. If particularly you don't get on board, even if it's slow, because it was slowing down, or they want the change supposed to happen faster. But the feeling of being uncomfortable, like we could stay, quote unquote, stay where we are, but you're just going to feel like you don't belong there. So doing that shift now is easier to do. Right. So like it was a harsher perspective. I remember in the very first time I read for the year where it was like a Band-Aid rip. Let's just rip it off. Let's just get rid of all the old, focus on the new, focus on the unknown, focus on the things that we want to dream and accomplish that are not even in our peripheral right now. But then when we reread it, it was about almost a little bit of a warning. And I don't really like to read that way. That's not my jam to have a negative tone. But it just felt a little bit like this warning of if you don't do that, you're just going to feel isolated. You're just going to feel uncomfortable. You're just going to feel like everything else has changed around you and you didn't align with that. So either way, something's ending, right?
I get that. I think I can see how, regardless of where things end up, that feeling of isolation because you feel like you have to hold so fast to that belief system that you had. Really, the growth is release that and go to where the dialogue is, where the integration could be. That's hard, especially if your belief system has been so embedded here.
Because we're talking foundational things like value.
Yeah, exactly.
What we learned when we grew up to right now, even if we went against how we grew up, even if we went against how we were taught, there's still a conviction to being rebelling against that. You're still holding a value to it. So if you look at that now, when I was saying that the rose-colored glasses are a little thick, I think, because even if people have a strong conviction, what they're really eliminating is openness.
Right. Exactly.
On either side.
Yeah.
So that's the unknown piece, I think, stepping into the unknown, opening up to something completely different that might not even be in our realm right now is actually what you're supposed to be seizing. And that's why conviction and value systems right now have a very tainted view, because no matter what, it's still old.
Yeah.
I think that divisiveness is, and this is what we're being called to do, is be divisive, make a choice one way or another. And that does, it keeps us in this place of fear. What if I lose? What if
Yes.
they win? And it just keeps you so disconnected from others versus head towards the storm a little bit. See what you can learn, see what you may be overlooking, see what somebody else's perspective might open up in your own that is unexpected.
And what you think is safe is not safe. That's the other part, is that playing it safe, what you feel is going to keep you protected, that just no matter what, with whatever you believe, that is actually an illusion.
Hearing now more and more, which I'm beginning to resonate with, is it doesn't matter who wins, because it's not about that at all.
No.
It's about how do we really look at our belief systems and grow from those and grow towards each other and collaborate in what we want to grow together moving forward. Like, that doesn't feel like fear to me. That feels like optimism and hope and growth. That's the potential that's in front of us if we look at it slightly differently.
And also, I think, I mean, I'm not a political person. It's hard for me to talk about politics in general, but I do think that we place a lot of value on being represented outside of ourselves. And I think that is not the right way, because I think it's a reflection of our society, but I don't think it's a reflection of spirituality or a reflection of common good or a reflection of the collective. It's a reflection of the human condition.
It was an aha for me.
Totally. Me too. Yeah. And the more that you can go within and get to know yourself, and then be open, once you really understand you, to listen and get to know others on that soul level. And what you said, it's like we put too much on others to represent us when we need to represent ourselves.
And not look for the differences.
I just think expectations are hard when we place so much on other people. We place so much versus ourselves, place so much on other people to fulfill them. And I don't think that's any different with the politician or the government, or I guess
our spouses, our children, our best friends, right?
It's what's the expectation of yourself first, because I think that's what really affects, or at least what I'm almost trying to teach. And when I do tarot, is that it needs to start there. Like, you need to have that detachment. You need to be able to fully be happy regardless of outcome, because that's really what true fulfillment is.
And where our power is. Yeah.
That is exactly what we needed to hear right now, Michelle.
I have my tarot cards here too. Tarot always has something to say.
Yes.
Let's keep it simple. That's the feeling I have. Like, the general energy of, I guess you could say, the election, the climate, social climate, culturally, particularly here, since we're obviously going to be thrusted into a direction that a lot of people will not enjoy one way or the other. Let's see what we're supposed to align to energetically about this time. Oh, I love this. Exactly what we were just talking about. Okay. 7 of Cups. And the 7 of Cups is all about infinite possibilities.
Oh, wow.
Meaning that the energy isn't about it being solid, isn't about it being, the foundation isn't set, the course is not set, the seed is not planted. It's about it being still in the ethereal realm of potential. What is possible? What could we dream? What could we create? What could we do as a society, as an individual? And what are we going to do with that energy when we are in that place, let's say after the election, when we're supposed to be in a restart? We're supposed to be in a place of, okay, what's next? So I love this connecting with what I was just saying, because the openness is, I think, what I was meditating on the most when I was thinking about what we're going to talk about, and what the feeling and when I get individually with clients, is everyone has become so closed. Like, their convictions are so strong, their values are so strong, and we're taught that. And I get that those have strength and weight and beauty to it, to be strong in your conviction. But at the place where we don't remain open is where those convictions fail us. This is what we're talking about here.
Love this.
Okay, wow. So I'm just going to pull 2 more cards just so I can clarify that a little bit. So I love that, because it's a very visionary energy. It's not grounded. Oh my God. Thank you, Spirit. The veil is thin today. Okay, so traditionally in tarot, the Seven of Cups energy, if we were, how I like to say, low vibing that energy, we would be confused. So think of a brainstorm. You're sitting in a meeting, brainstorming ideas, and typically we have a very hard time being in a true brainstorm, in a true think tank, where you eliminate the no's. No, something can't happen. No, that's too expensive. No, that isn't possible. That person's not going to go along with that. No, that is not a true brainstorm. A true brainstorm is considering a place of neutrality where anything is possible. So with the Seven of Cups energy, there is always this idea that there are illusionary qualities to some of those cups that you could pick, right? There's seven of them. Some of them might look great on the outside, but then when you really take a taste of it, it's poisonous, right? If we really want to get down to tarot, but get on the witchy side. So illusion and confusion is a very strong quality to the low vibration of the Seven of Cups energy. If we think of that is what if, let's say we're talking about this election, what if it is illusionary to a certain degree? What if there are things about each individual that is illusionary, that with a filter that you're looking through isn't correct on both sides? Because I don't think it's about one person, both sides. So that's a very low vibrational format of the Seven of Cups. But here's what I love about how Spirit presents it. There's only one cup, the Ace of Cups.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's true. Okay. There's only one of those when you're in a brainstorm that rises to the top and this is it. This is the answer. This is the full package. This is answering all the questions that we had. This is the solution. So it's verifying, I would say, that there is something in this, not just ethereal illusionary quality, that we can weave our way through and get to what we really need, right? The Ace of Cups, to get to the right choice, to get to the right place. And I don't think it can be, I guess you can look at that in reference to the right candidate, if we're talking about politics, the right person, but I actually don't really think that's what it is. I think it's more about extracting any type of illusion that you have from that filter of not being open and considering like you're sitting down at the brainstorm table and we're starting over. And the openness has to be there to be able to actually see what is the right choice. It's very intuitive with all that cups energy. That's like an intuitive choice, but it's also the Ace of Cups is pure. That's the part of it. It's like, it's pure love. It's pure emotional energy. It's pure intuition. But really, it's about the purity of heart. And so if we think of that, if we're moving in that direction, if there's only one cup here in that illusion that gives us an alignment with the purity of heart, that's really the direction that we should be going.
That to me is really hopeful in terms of doesn't matter which candidate wins. The point being that where we end up months from now is in that place. Right. Maybe a year from now, who knows? But the point being, we get to the place of love, truth, all the things from a pure and authentic place.
Well, and if you look at that one cup could be you, right? So how do you bring your sort of pure, open heart to that?
That's why I'm saying like the low vibration is illusion, is confusion. The high vibration is possibility. Yeah. So if we're looking at it from the view of the lens of even if the person you didn't vote for wins, now what's possible with that person?
And I love what you said, Karen, how we started even this conversation. It's really going back to you and what are you bringing and who are you being loyal to in yourself, not from a political perspective. So much deeper than that.
I think it's very heart-centered energy. Yeah. And I don't do tarot for predictive quality. I do it for alignment. So like it's a choice.
That's right. It is.
It's a choice to align with what feels like the future, not what feels like now, what feels like the future. Okay. And then the Two of Swords, this is Spirit, I think, really loudly saying, this is the crossroads card.
Wow.
This is the left or right. So that is hardcore choice. So I do think there's this really softness to this energy of being in a state of complete possibility if you really wanted to look at things that way. But then there's also this really hard lined energy that butts up against that, saying what you determine and how you go about this platform moving forward, because one person's going to win, is are you blocking then possibility beyond this choice? Meaning, are you the one that's going to block internally? I will not be on board with X. So I'm already took myself out. It's the same with the brainstorm. Think of that like in a meeting, if we all decided collectively, all right, this is the idea that we're going to run with. And then for those people on that in that meeting, we're like, I don't really like that idea though. And like, okay, you can shift your thinking and bring something to the table to determine how we're going to accomplish this idea and make it better, or you can block it all together and not be a part of it, which is the same thing.
It really is. It's what, in terms of, I love what you said. It is a choice and it's a perspective.
It's an openness. This is that's why I said that I think conviction is playing too hard of a role right now in people's choices versus thinking of us as a unit.
Yeah, totally. Agree. And it goes to that old versus new, just in general. It doesn't matter, again, who you align yourself with. It's just in general, we need to hear each other. So it does we need to be more open in general. There needs to be this openness, thinking of the collective.
I think, like I said, I would opt to say I'm not that political at all, but for the reason of, I believe more in neutrality in general, but the openness has to be on both sides, right? Like both the right or wrongness that we've gotten to with even our choices of candidates of being so polarized. I think that's where the reflection of the human condition is right now. We're a polarized state, polarized union.
And
of
unfortunately,
course, those are going to be our choices.
It seems like that's a reflection of a smaller number of people than we really think. I think there are many people who are still in the middle part trying to make sense of it, who see the possibilities or see the rights and feelings on both sides, right? And they are in an open space. I feel like there's just so much noise that is like pulling us to take one side or another. And what you're pointing out is, sure, absolutely vote. It's the important American thing to do.
Absolutely.
But do it with that openness that whatever the outcome, we are still one and we can find our way back to being one.
And don't leave the table.
I feel so much better today. I really do with this conversation. Like it takes so much of the anxiety out of it, knowing that there's this this is really why we're here as a collective anyway, is to bring all of this collectively together. So it's just a good reminder.
Yeah. And I like for me, the hope factor in here is that the choice, that because there's a choice, that you can still leave it that there is a right choice. So if you just think of it that way, like whatever happens here that was supposed to happen, that was the right choice. And then that's really just sitting at the table and moving on from that point. There's not a wrong choice. And I know people would not agree with me on that one.
No, but that's why we're having these conversations and we're posting this now so that those that listen to our podcast or watch us on YouTube, they're more open in general for the most part. Or if you come across this and you haven't been, there's a reason that you're coming across this now, just to open your mind and think about this in a different way. So you can start to think about the fact that you are here as a soul living in a human body at this time on purpose. And that we all are choosing to be here together right now to elevate all of it, to elevate where we go as humanity and with consciousness. And so overall, so there is this bigger picture. There really is. And so it's to try to take us out of the very heavy energy that's here right now. And give us this other perspective and also remind us that we will be okay. I know that's the other part of it is I think after all these conversations, I know I needed them because I was starting to absorb all the energy. And now what I really know, and I'll probably listen to all of this again couple times, is that we're going to be okay. No
Right.
matter what, we're going to be okay.
And I think that I also think, just this is my take also about politics in general. So I know it's subjective, but I do really think it's a reflection of what's happening societal in our own society. It's a human condition reflection of that. And so I think the bigger question is, why are we here? Why is this where this election is? Why are these our two candidates? Why? This is a reflection of us innately that's happening in our country right now. And if you're upset about it, if you don't like the choices, if they seem completely extreme one way or the other, that comes from us, you individually, putting that energy into the collective to hardline a choice instead of making something gray and being open. Like, that's coming from us. That's not coming from out of nowhere.
Totally.
Seven of Cups
Yeah.
is gray.
Thank you. Thank you,
I'm glad
Michelle.
we did that. I'm really glad we did that. I think it just underscored everything that you already said in an even more comprehensive and inspirational way. And I feel like it came as a wink to all of us from spirit. Like, yeah, we're here with you. We're not leaving. We're part of this journey with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I like this. This is new for me to pull something like that, but
thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Spirit. Thank you for showing up.
Absolutely.
Really.
All our ancestors are here today.
Feeling it.